welcome to Bella and Veneto. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. We are on another travel adventure with Bella as we continue my Thanksgiving trip to the Veneto region in Italy. So I had decided when I moved here to find a time to try and visit different regions of Italy for however long I'm here. So, of course, as you know, with my travel series, I am not limiting my trips just to Italy itself, but I would like to see different regions of the country that I am in while I'm here. And last year for Thanksgiving, we did visit Pisa and Florence and Lucca, and it was beautiful and stunning and amazing. This year we chose to go to the Veneto region, which has a lot of towns, but we only had time for Verona and Venice. I did have some other motives for going to Venice this time. My bisnonna, my great-grandmother, the one who taught me to crochet, was born in Venice. Where? I have no idea. I know, of course, her maiden name, but something that I do not know is who her mother was. When they moved to the United States, her mother did not come. There were things that the family was not allowed to speak of, and her mother was one of them. No questions were ever allowed to be asked. I mean, we know her first name, and we know, of course, what her name was when she got married, but I don't even know her maiden name. So I wanted to try and go to the region to find out more. And I located the Anagrafa, which is like the birth registry place in Venice. I made an appointment, and of course I had to travel there. So I figured why not kind of mix the two. I get to see the city where my great-grandmother was from, but also maybe find out some information. I've already done the video on Verona, and if you have not seen that, definitely please go back and check that out. So today we are going to talk about the first day that we had, excuse me, actually in Venice itself. Which we did not stay in Venice for that day. If you know anything about Venice at all, it is a series of waterways and canals. And just beyond that are even more islands and things that belong to the country of Italy. And just like I did when we went to Trapani, I took a boat tour. I seem to have a fascination with islands, so I decided to check out some of the more well-known islands around Venice. And we took a boat tour of 3 islands: Murano, Burano, and Torcello. And so those are the 3 islands that I am going to talk about today. And when I get to the point of my appointment day, I will update you more on that. So hopefully you follow along in this saga that is Venice. So we booked the tour. So when we went to Venice, if you didn't see the Verona video, it was myself and my daughter, and then another teacher from the school and her children. And so we tried to make sure that we had things that were kid-friendly, that would not necessarily bore them to tears constantly. And well, I don't mind going in and looking at churches and um, other buildings. There needed to be some sort of variety. So we booked some different things that would kind of give them time to explore and do things, but also, keep us interested. And one of those things was this island tour. So each of the islands is known for something different. Okay. And I'm going to talk about each of them, although we didn't get to spend a lot of time at any of them. But I think that's kind of the point of the tour. It just gives you a taste of what you would see. And then, of course, you can always go back on your own time, right? If you so choose. So, when we went out, we first stopped in Murano, and this was the island that we got to see the least of, mainly because we were taken directly to the entrance of a glass blowing shop. So Murano is famous all around the world for blown glass. And we got to see a demonstration. I will put up some video in a moment of that demonstration. And then as soon as the demonstration was over, we were basically ushered into the shop of this glass business, and you were given a coupon and you could go shop there. And I did find some things, but then I also went out to explore a little bit. So I'm gonna.
Dos técnicas principales del trabajo del vidrio. Cominciamo con la tecnica più famosa e anche la più antica, la tecnica del vetro soffiato. Questa tecnica è in uso sin dal IX secolo, quando tutte le fornaci erano al centro della città di Venezia. Con la tecnica soffiata il maestro farà un piccolo vaso. We will start with the most famous and ancient technique, the blowing glass. This technique has been le siècle. À l'époque, on était des bis. Avec la technique souple, le maître fera un petit vase. Vamos a empezar con la primera técnica, la más famosa y antigua, la técnica del vidrio soplado. Esta técnica está utilizada desde el siglo IX, cuando todas las fábricas estaban colocadas en el centro de Venecia. Con la técnica soplada, utilizamos también oro de 24 quilates y plata. Una volta finito il pezzo dovrebbe essere messo a raffreddare in un forno per 24 ore ad una temperatura di 500 gradi. Questo è per evitare lo shock termico. When the piece is finished, it should be placed inside the cooling oven where we leave them minimum 24 hours at 500 degrees. This is to avoid the thermal shock. Une fois terminé, notre pièce doit être tempérée dans notre four pendant 24 heures à une température de 500 degrés. Bravo Marco! Now let's see the second technique, solid glass or magic glass. It's used to create any sort of sculptures. We will see applied to create a small horse. Passons maintenant à la seconde technique du travail d'hiver, la technique solide utilisée pour les sculptures. Avec la technique solide, le maître fera un petit cheval. Vamos a ver la segunda técnica, la técnica del vidrio sólido, que se utiliza por crear cualquier tipo de esculturas. La veremos aplicada por un pequeño cambio. Quando il maestro lavora con poca quantità di vetro, non potrà distribuirlo eternamente. Cuando el maestro trabaja con una pequeña cantidad de vidrio, no puede calentarla, así él tiene solamente un minuto para hacer un cavallo. Non ci sono scuole dove poter imparare questo antico mestiere, è una tradizione familiare. Giovani apprendono le tecniche di base in 15 anni, lavorando a stretto contatto con gli artisti, ma solo quelli che hanno il talento diventano dei veri maestri dei brani. La maggior parte rimane solo assistente del maestro. There are no schools in Venice where to learn this kind of job. It's still many family tradition. Young people learn the best technique in about 15 years working beside the artist, but only those with personal talent becomes real master class makers. The others remain only assistants. Il n'existe pas de code pour apprendre le métier de maître verrier, c'est une tradition familiale. L'apprentissage des techniques de base dure une quinzaine d'années. À la fin, seuls les milieux au niveau artistique deviendront maîtres verriers. Les autres resteront assistants. No hay escuelas donde se puede aprender este tipo de trabajo. Sigue siendo una tradición familiar. Los jóvenes aprenden las técnicas básicas en casi 15 años, trabajando juntos a los artistas, pero solo los que tienen el talento se convierten en maestros vidrieros. Los demás siguen siendo asistentes.
The glass blowing clip. I hope that you enjoyed it. It was amazing to watch and so fascinating. The things that this guy was able to create, and he is one of the masters at the shop. But then as we went out, um, the person that I was with, they didn't really go out of the shop other than to go back to the boat. But I was like, I want to see what I can see. So like we got our shopping done, and then we went. My daughter and I went out of the shop a little bit, and I kind of took note of where we were, and I took pictures of the address so that I would know what to get back to. Because you're on a time crunch when you're on boat tours like that. You're very much on a time crunch. You have to be back at the boat at a certain time, or you're finding your way back. That's just how it is. Um, because they have a schedule to keep and more than just you to keep up with. So, um, and that had actually happened. The lady that I was with, she'd been to Venice before, and she had gone on a boat tour. I don't know if she went to all the islands, but she had gone to some of the islands, and um, there were people that had been on the boat and they got left because they didn't come back when they were supposed to. So, of course, we made sure that we were back. But we got to walk along the canals on the island, see some of the different shops, and there were so many shops with glass there. I mean, of course, that's their livelihood, right? But we found this shop that was a €1 shop. Now, that was the name of the shop, but not everything in there was €1. But the prices were definitely better than the glass blowing shop that we had been ushered into. And then as we were walking around, I could tell that in the summertime, and probably, spring, summer, early fall, it's a very, very vibrant place. Um, but because we were there in November, it was a little eerie and it was very, very still. Um, and I know that there are people that are there year round because there was someone delivering mail up and down the street and all of that. But um, some of the pictures that I took they weren't exactly, but they were almost haunting in their stillness. And it was so beautiful to me just to be there and experience all of that in the stillness and in the quiet, because I can't imagine how crowded and loud it must be in peak times. Not that I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back on that tour because I don't want to. I mean, I would like to see the glass blowing, but I've seen it and I don't want to be ushered into a shop to buy something. I mean, we did find a couple of things, and I know that's kind of the point, but it was just, I would love time to explore, right? And like I said, that's the point. You just kind of dip your toes in with these tours and then you move on. So, but the 1 cent or the €1 glass shop that we were in had so many amazing things. And the talent that these people have to make them is incredible. I mean, that is an art form that I hugely admire and would seriously doubt my capabilities to be able to replicate. I mean, I know that you can learn how to do things, but I would be so afraid at every point that I would break something, and I think that my nervousness in that would make me break things. So I would be very, very worried about how to apply the pressure and do the things. And like I said, I know you can be taught all those things, but still, I don't think that my nerves can handle it. So unfortunately, all too soon, we were whisked away from Murano, and it took us a little bit of time to get to the next island, which was Burano. And I was very, very interested as we were coming up, because Burano is a fishing island, and the town that exists there, they are known for their colorful houses. So if you've ever seen a picture or something like that, I know like on computers they'll often have those screensaver pictures that go, and you see the ones with the beautifully colored houses. They're all different colors. That could very well be Burano, because as we learned, every family paints their house these vibrant colors so that as the fishermen were coming in, they could see their house, right? They could see the color of their house and they would know they were almost home. And I can tell you that it was very, very foggy the day that we were there. And so to see that bright color coming out of the fog was indeed an interesting sight. There was another smaller island that was attached to Burano. It wasn't very big at all, but people definitely lived there. You could tell there was relatively new playground equipment and all kinds of stuff there. And as we were going by on the boat, you could see the bridge, and that was the only thing connecting that island to Burano, which was a bigger island than that. I'm going to pause just for a moment because I realized I've forgotten something. I'll be right back. Okay, I think I'm back. Sorry, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit because I forgot that I did not grab the things that I wanted to show you. So, we did get a couple of things, like I said, at the glass shop that we saw, and these were a couple of them that I'm going to show you. I'm just trying not to drop things. So I opted not to get very large things just because I only travel with a tiny suitcase. But this was one of the things that I got. It's a pendant. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. There it goes. There's that one. And then this one. I don't know if you can see. Oh, it was there almost. you can't really see the color. It's a really light blue, and then there's yellow in it. So these are made with pieces of the glass. And then, I'm just going to put them back in their little box. I did get, which I've already given to my son, a little black cat. So for Sophia, our cat Sophia, that we had when he was growing up. And then I didn't get these at the shop. I got them at the Euro glass place. But then I got this little dish, which I thought was just so beautiful. And this is a dark green glass, but it's important that you get the sticker or something on it that says, like a display that says that this is, and I'm just going to put this right here in this drawer so that I don't drop it and break it while I finish the video. That says that it is actually Murano glass, because there are lots of shops in Venice itself that do that have glass, but not all of it is from Murano. People will often think that it's from Murano because it's glass, and then it's not authentic. So those were a couple of things that I got. I also got a glass cat for myself, but it's blue and clear. I was gonna see if I could find the pictures. Let me go. Sorry, you guys. I know I'm backtracking just a little bit, but I wanted to try and find the pictures. We also, as we were walking around, we found a beautiful well, you know what? I guess I can just put the pictures. I'm putting the pictures up here, so I won't try to find it. But we found Befana. So in Italy, La Befana, in most parts of Italy, La Befana is very big on Epiphany. So we did. Sorry, I was trying to find. Something. We did find a glass Befana that was absolutely stunning. So there is that as well. So now back to Burano, right? We were in Burano. We were looking at the houses, the colorful houses. That's what I was talking about. And talking about the fog and how interesting it was to see all of that. Here comes the sneeze. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. That was so loud, but it was also very painful. I was trying to see, because I don't know that I have a picture of it in here, unfortunately. And I want to show it to you, but I think I've already packed it away. And now I'm trying to find it. And anyway, I'll carry on. If I find it, I find it. If not, I don't know. But anyway, we got off at Burano, and this was the place where we had the most time to spend because we were going to be able to eat there. So we were walking around, and of course, you walk through, the boat docked, and then we got to walk through the town a little bit. And as I'm talking, pictures will be coming up, and there were all of these interesting doors that were decorated. There was one that had flamingos on it, and I sent it to Sam. And there was a pink house that my colleague insisted that I take a picture of her in front of. But I mean, hey, she loves pink. More power to her. All good. I took the picture. She was like, "Do you want one?" I was like, "Nope." um, and then we got to like the main area of the island, and of course all the shops and everything because they know the tours are coming. And there was such beautiful things. What the thing that Burano, in addition to being a fishing village, is known for is lace. So there was a museum there. It was not open, unfortunately, when we went. I did take pictures of the museum, but it was like reposo time. So the museum itself wasn't open. The shops were open because we were there and people wanted us to buy things. There were so many beautiful things. Oh my God. I wanted so many, many things. But I was not able to get everything, of course, that I wanted. And some things I just could not afford. There were some beautiful, like, tapestry style items that I was like, oh man, these are gorgeous. But they wanted, as they should, as they should. I'm not saying anything. I mean, I make handmade items and I know that you should charge what they're worth. I just didn't have the money to pay that. And if I'd had the money, I probably would have said, "You're underselling yourself. Um, these are worth far, far more than what you're selling them for." I just didn't have the funds to be able to purchase them. But they were beautiful tapestries of the houses in Burano. People there had made those scenes in Venice. Other beautiful, beautiful things. But what I did end up getting, just to show you, I got this um, of Venice. It's a gondola, and the two of the striped poles that are very well known. And that is Venice in Italian, Venezia. And then I got this. I'm gonna hold it up like this. This beautiful bookmark, and it has like Carnivale masks, and then it says Burano on it. And then my daughter got this umbrella, this parasol type thing, and it has beautiful, I'm going to open it ever so slightly just so you can see the beautiful lace work on it. And this is all hand done. We were in the lady's shop. We walked pretty much down to the end of the street before the next canal. And there was this little shop with this lady. And I was looking and looking, and I didn't see umbrellas quite like this. I saw some umbrellas, and I saw some very, like, I guess these are more parasols because they're not, like, going to protect you from the rain. But the lady was actually working on these as we were walking. Not this particular one, but as we were walking down, she was working on some of these. She didn't have a purple one. My daughter wanted a purple one, but she didn't have one, so my daughter settled for this one. And I say settled in like the most awe-inspiring way because this is gorgeous. Um, but this is what she got. And then I also I found this one shop that had these beautiful Christmas items. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find it. I really want to show it to you. Just a second. Okay. My apologies again for pausing, but I really wanted you to see this. Not the Santa hat, but this. This I got at the Christmas store. Well, it wasn't a Christmas store, but they had a lot of Christmas items laid out. And it came with multiple little suction cups that you can put in your window. And I remember very vividly my grandparents, my dad's parents, having lots of things like this for Christmas in their windows. And I told myself that if I was ever able to find something like this, that I would buy it because it reminded me so much of them. And I did not take a picture of it. That's why I was looking through my pictures to see if I took a picture of it, and I did not. So I wanted to show it to you so that you could see the beautiful things that people make there. And there were so many things. I truly wish I could have bought so many more. Um, I also did buy my mom a beautiful scarf. It's on its way to her now. I was waiting until I had a box of things because she had ordered something for my daughter's fundraiser, and then I got her um, some items from different places, here in Sicily, and then we were in Venice and so forth that she had asked for, and I wanted to just have a big box of things to send her. So it's on its way to her now, but it's a beautiful handmade scarf, um, all lace, right? Very, very beautiful. So um, Burano was very, very awe-inspiring for me. Um, Again, I wish I would have had more time to explore. Um, we did, like I said, this is the place where we had the most, so we did walk around, and there were some very interesting houses. Um, Even after our lunch, there was one that was painted, and there was someone, I guess it was maybe a different kind of tour that they were giving, and the guy was talking about how the different levels would show like when things had flooded over time. And so there were marks and years and meters of water, like how high the water had gotten. Um, and you could see a lot of that even as we were in Venice, um, because it does flood there regularly, because it's all water. So, most people are not on that water level for apartments and things. They're like 1 or 2 stories higher than that. That may be a basement or like a storage thing, maybe. Um, there were some places that we saw where people would have their own boats, right? And put their boats, instead of having a car, they would have a boat. And that would be where they would put their boat, um, and uh, different things like that. So there weren't a lot of things. There were lots and lots of places where you had to go up at least 1 or 2 flights, to get to the actual place, because there weren't very many things on level, when we were like riding around in some of the ferries and looking at things later on in our trip. Um, and then all too soon, again, we were back on the boat and going to the last island on the tour. And even as we were leaving Burano, you could see the beautiful colors until it was again swallowed by the fog. Um, and as we were going through the water, they would talk about different places. There was a monastery, and there was um, like different things that you would see like over time, and then some of them were abandoned, and then the monastery was still there. Fewer and fewer monks lived there, but there was a monastery there. And then we got to the final island of the tour, which was Torcello. Now, this island had the most eerie quality to it because it's the smallest one of the 3 that we went to, but also only 11 people live there year round now. You could definitely see signs that in the summertime, like again, spring, summer, early autumn, there were restaurants and there were things, but it was all boarded up, and they had signs of like when they would open back up, and usually it was around April-ish. Um, and there was a church there that you could go in and see, and then there was a little museum that had like architecture, and like it was a museum of the island. Um, by that point, the children were dragging a little, and they really didn't want to go into any of those places. So we just walked around because you had to pay. It wasn't included in the boat tour. You had to pay separately to go in, and they really didn't want to. And my friend and I had talked about like they don't want to go, we're not going to make them go, because then we won't be able to enjoy what we see. Because they'll be like, I don't want to be here, or be like huffing and puffing and the whole time, as children do. So we walked around, and it was very, very beautiful. I did joke that I think we found where Medusa likes to hang out, because there was a house that had 2 rows of stone structures, all people. And then as we walked around that house, there was like a vineyard, and there were stone people in the vineyard as well, in different poses. One was like running away, one was doing something else, and I was like, this is where Medusa lives. This is where she lives. Or she hangs out here on occasion. It was interesting, especially again with because this was towards the afternoon, and the sun sets pretty early there, like around 4:30 in the afternoon. The sun is setting, so like it's getting darker, the sun is going down. It's a little bit foggy. It's chilly. It's a little eerie, not gonna lie. But of course, my daughter found a cat. There was a lovely cat who obviously does not lack for attention or anything like that. And there were so many animals that we saw all over. I'm sure there will be lots of pictures of cats and dogs and things, because my daughter sees a kid. She's like, take a picture, Mommy. I want to remember. Okay. She'll have a whole montage of animals around the world at some point. And then, I did walk around the church and everything, but this island, Torcello, was one of the first islands that was inhabited, actually. So at one point, there were tens of thousands of people that lived on that island, and it's not very big. But over time, as more and more people were on the mainland, it got less and less and less populated. So now I think they said, and don't quote me on the numbers for like summertime, but somewhere between 200 to 350 people are there on the island, like living there, doing things, mainly for the tourists that come. But during all year round, there are only 11 people that live on that island full time. And I know that has got to be difficult in times of bad weather and things like that, because it is not close to much of anything. And then it took a good 35-40 minutes once we were done with the island to get back to Venice itself. So I know that in like raging storms and things like that, I mean, you would be completely alone. And if things got washed away, if you got washed away, I mean, it would be, excuse me, I mean, in those kinds of situations, it's a little scary to think about. But then, I mean, if you need that peace and you need that solitude, and there wouldn't be very many places that would be better to go, because it is definitely quiet. It is definitely peaceful. It is definitely beautiful. And I was just, I don't know, all 3 of the islands had their own qualities that made me think, like, this is a lovely place. For different reasons, obviously, but they were all breathtaking to me. And I'm very, very glad that we went. I do plan to go back again, because, of course, I have people to find and things to research. Not just my great-great-grandmother, but, I mean, there were other people that were born there in my family, because if my beast Nona was born there, then, her family was as well, and I don't know a whole lot about them, especially, who married whom and so forth and so on as you go back through the generations. So being able to find that means that I might be spending more time in Venice than I originally thought. But we got back to Venice itself and did some more sightseeing and things like that. So that is the end of my island tour for Murano, Burano, and Torcello. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that the pictures were things that you enjoyed. And if there are any questions that you have, any comments, any thoughts, please do not hesitate to put them in the comments below. Just be kind, right? Positive things, please. And trying to think if there's anything else to share with you about the islands. Not that I can think of. So with that, I will leave you. As always, be well, be safe, and be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!